Well, hello, my dears, and welcome to this episode of Sex, Love, and Elephants. And I'm very excited to bring you the second lesson. And this is the last one I'm going to share for you here on the podcast. The second lesson of my new free, did I say free? I said free, starter course for couples, which is 5 video lessons, each with a worksheet and some exercises to help you move your relationship forward right now. Last episode, if you didn't hear it, you might want to go back and listen to that one. You don't have to. You can do them out of order. It's all perfect. It'll still help you improve your relationship. But this episode, I'm bringing you the second lesson in my 5-part free starter course, where I teach you the core foundation of everything I do with couples, which is the passion triangle. What are the 3 key areas a couple needs to work on and strengthen and be, adept with and understand, primarily understand how critical it is to work on your relationship in each of these 3 areas. I call it the passion triangle. That's the lesson you're going to hear right now in this podcast. But make sure you click below and go to that starter course and sign up. There's no obligation whatsoever. But then you can watch the video of this lesson. You can download the worksheet. You can do the questions and the exercises with your partner and start moving from where you are to where you want to be. And stay tuned, my loves, because in the next podcast and for all of the rest of September and October, I'm going to be telling you all about my upcoming 3-month Become Passion program, which I teach once or twice a year, only once this year in 2025. And we're kicking off near the end of October. You'll want to come and learn all about that and come to my free masterclass where you can ask me all your questions and get personal advice and coaching from me. How great is that? But for now, let's dive in. Lesson 2 of the 5-part starter course, Reboot Your Relationship. I can't wait to get your feedback. Let's go. What do you miss the most about falling in love? I want you to think back. I want you to think back to when you were dating the person you're currently with. I want you to think about how you each behaved and probably how freaking amazing it felt. You were so excited when they called or texted. You couldn't wait to see them. We stood on our heads to rearrange our week so there was time to show up with our partner. Think about it. And I want you to really think of the specific things you miss about falling in love. Here's some of the ones that are most commonly given to me over and over and over with the couples I work with more deeply. They say, I miss that I felt like the most important person in my partner's world. I miss how much effort they made to please me, to surprise me, to plan great dates. I miss the endless conversations that lasted for hours. We were so fascinated to learn everything about each other. I missed how damn hard I wanted to kiss them, and I couldn't wait. I miss how horny I was, how sexually attracted, how on fire. When we started making love in our relationship, I miss how hungry I was to make love over and over. I miss how easy it was, people say. I miss that we were a lot kinder to each other. We just had more fun. You've got your own answers to that all-important question, and I'm asking you for an all-important reason. Welcome to the second video in your Relationship Reboot Starter course. And today is a critically important video. I mentioned in the first one that today I'm going to be teaching you what I call the passion triangle, what I call the 3 keys to passion, or the 3 keys to a great relationship. And here is something that I hope you feel a little bit good about. You already know what these 3 keys are. Because when you cast back to your early dating life and you think about the things you long for, the things that you miss, and the things that most of us are not doing these days. Why? Because we're not making our relationship a hobby, which you learned about in the first lesson. You'll hear right now, as I describe the 3 key areas of a great relationship, that those are the 3 things you miss. Now, you may be strong in one of these, maybe even 2, congratulations, but I bet your relationship's weak in at least 1, if not 2, or all 3 of these 3 key areas. Okay, I'm not trying to be a tease. Here we go. I call the 3 sides to the passion triangle, which is just a representative model to capture from research, my own clinical work, and everything else, the 3 key areas that great couples are great at, or working to become great at. The first one I call intimacy. The second one I call thrill. And the third one I call sensuality. Now, words are important, so let me define what I mean in the relationship context as to what these 3 words mean. The first one, intimacy. Now, I'm not using intimacy here as a euphemism for sexuality. That's a fine way to use the word. People might say, I got intimate with my sweetie last night. I'm talking here about a very different aspect of relationship: psychological and communication closeness and skill. So for example, under this huge umbrella of intimacy, I would include, how well do you handle conflict? Do you apologize well? Do you feel really close to your partner in the way that you feel like effectively they're one of the most important friends you have, if not the most important? Do you feel like your partner has your back? Are they a cheerleader for you and you for them? Right now in this moment, are you acquainted well enough with each other's inner landscape that you know what's worrying your partner? Maybe a work niggle, or they're concerned about their father's failing health. Do you know what's on their mind of things that are troubling them? Do they know what's on your mind in terms of things that are troubling you? And on the other side of that, do they know what's lighting you up, what you're excited about, what you're looking forward to? Maybe that kayaking trip with your group of college friends next week, or you're looking forward to finishing this huge presentation and presenting it to the boss. These are all aspects of intimacy. That was a very quick view, because in the next video, the lesson, I'm going to teach you all about intimacy much more deeply. We're going to break each 3 of these down in the next 3 lessons. Today is just an overview. So that's the first key to a great relationship. The second key I call thrill. Now, you nailed that when you went through the thought experiment with me a few minutes ago about what do you miss the most about falling in love and dating. Oh, baby, we miss what I call the thrill, the excitement, the butterflies, the locked and loaded feelings towards each other, again, feeling like they're most important person on the planet, and you made sure they felt that way too. What a rush, what a sexual turn on, what a delight to be falling in love. It's the greatest roller coaster in the world. I'll talk more about that in your upcoming lesson that goes more deeply into thrill and what to do about it when the thrill has faded. Or maybe it feels like it's dead. It's not dead, but it may be in a coma, and I'd like to help you reawaken thrill. So we've got intimacy, we've got thrill, and then we've got sensuality. I choose that word very deliberately to describe the entire spectrum of your touch, erotic, and sexual life. Everything from holding hands, to snuggling before you fall asleep, to all aspects of the sex you are having or not having. Because a lot of long-term couples struggle a great deal with sexual desire and attraction to each other anymore. About 30 to 40% of couples are in a low sex or completely sexless relationship. You'll hear about a bunch more about that in a video later in our course. But for today, there are the 3 keys to passion, the passion triangle, the 3 keys to great relationship. Now remember, if we're going to improve in anything, including our tennis game, or what is it, pickleball, everybody's all excited about these days. If you want to improve in your pickleball game, you need to practice. And you need to assess currently where you're doing well as a pickleball player and where you're doing poorly. So I have 2 tools for you today that I would like you to do. They'll each take maybe 10 minutes. The first one is the attached worksheet that is next to this video where you're watching it. There's a diagram and a couple of questions to help you just off the cuff, as you feel today, rate your own relationship right now on intimacy, thrill, and sensuality. I'll rate mine right now. Been with my partner for 12 years, married about 7. And I would put us on intimacy at about an 8 or a 9. Why? Because we communicate a lot and deeply. We plan our days. We're each other's cheerleader. We kind of tag team off and do well in terms of things we need to do. He's a tremendous sounding board. When I have a creative idea, I'm planning this course, etc., I could talk to him about it. He often has some cool reflections, and he's like, go baby, go. We're pretty good in conflict resolution. We blow it. We can have nasty arguments sometimes and act like spoiled brats, but I tell you what, we've worked really hard for 12 years and we're way better at apologizing and coming back together and beginning again. You'll hear a bunch more about those skills in the next video where we take a deeper dive into intimacy. So I would rate us as about an 8 out of 10 on intimacy these days. Now, what about thrill? I'm going to rate us about a 5 for the last month and about a 9 next week, because we consider thrill to be, we have a weekly date, we try to do fun things together, we get out and hike the dog, we try to try a new restaurant or go to the theater. Been pretty busy lately, so we haven't done as much of that as usual, but oh my Lord, next week, He and I are going on the trip of a lifetime to Africa on safari. So we have a lot of thrill, being excitement, fun things we're doing together. We'll be alone for 6 weeks, focused on each other, have more time also to make love. So our thrill is going to be a 9 or a 10 starting next week. We work on it, we rate it, we improve it when we need to. Sensuality, the whole spectrum of your erotic and sexual life. I would give us around a 5. I was away for 2 months on a meditation retreat. He was injured for a while. We haven't been paying as much attention to our sensual and sexual life as we like to, but it's okay, but we can do better. Everything I've just covered is the content in much more depth we're getting into in the next 3 lessons, where I'm going to teach much more deeply about intimacy and give you some special things to do there. Same, another lesson on thrill and another one on sensuality. For today, though, I'm simply introducing the model and asking you to use that worksheet to rate where you are. Just take the best rating that fits where you are now. Are you strong, weak, medium, high, or fairly high on each of these? Your partner may feel differently. That might lead to a bit of a tricky conversation, but we can't avoid the tricky conversations when we're going to work on improving our relationship. And then there's a second fun way you could rate your relationship on the 3 keys to passion, which is to take the quiz. It takes under 10 minutes. It's kind of fun. And then you'll get a few videos where I'll explain to you what your weaknesses mean and what your strengths mean. And that will help you just have a better sense as we dive into the next lessons, going more deeply into each of the 3 keys of passion to help you say, okay, I really want to improve our thrill, baby. We've been lazy. We're not making our relationship a hobby. We need to vow to do better. I want to give you hope. In my longer program, I have a 3-month program where I work very deeply with couples just like you. You even get to ask me your questions every other week and come on live and get some coaching from me, as well as an entire curriculum, of which this starter course you're in right now is just a little taste. And in that program, I have incredible couples who've done incredible transformations in their relationship, from lousy Marriage Incorporated to doing really fantastic now. And they have some video testimonials we may send you if you'd like to watch them. But for now, I'm going to tell you the story. And these is real names, real couples, as you'll see in the photo right here. This is Howard and Karen. Howard and Karen took my program about a year ago. And here's the backstory. A couple of months before, I think about 6 months before, Howard had abruptly announced to his wife of 32 years, Karen, that he wanted a divorce. As she tells it, she was absolutely gobsmacked, had no idea, was devastated, gutted. She said, I sobbed for 2 days. And then I finally went to him and I said, look, I think we're worth more than this. I'm not giving you a divorce that easily. I want us to try for 6 months to see if we can figure out what went wrong for you or us and what we can do about it. Now, Howard fairly was pretty reluctant. He'd made his decision. He knew he was really unhappy and he wanted to move into something different in the future with someone else. But he said, well, okay, but I'm still moving out. So he moved out of their family home. They stayed in contact via text. They did a little bit of therapy with a couples therapist, and then they found their way to my advanced program, my Become Passion 3-month-long couples program. And they joined, and they jumped in with both feet. Now in that program, couples take a really deep dive into everything I'm teaching you in this starter course, and with a lot of deep techniques and profound exercises and speaking with me and so much more. And at the end of the program, this is what Howard and Karen had to say about their relationship. He said, we didn't know about the passion triangle. We didn't realize that there were 3 areas we needed to work on. He was incredibly upset because they weren't being sexual and they weren't talking about it, and he wanted out. He wanted more in his life. That makes him sound shallow. He's so not shallow. You can watch their testimonial if you want more depth and breadth of this beautiful couple. But he realized, as he said, we didn't know how to talk to each other. We were both chemists with PhDs, super successful careers they just retired from. We were great at communicating at work. We didn't know how to communicate with each other, to know what was working and what wasn't working, how each other was feeling. They were not doing well in intimacy, but they didn't know it. They weren't having thrill, they weren't having fun, they weren't making a fuss of each other and more. Today, they count themselves as an extraordinarily happy couple, and I want to tell you a beautiful story that moved me to tears when they shared it in one of our Zoom calls together. It was it was a milestone birthday for her last year, and Howard wanted to do something very special for the woman he had fallen back in love with. So he planned and managed to pull off a special surprise dinner party with 6 other couples. 4 of those couples had to fly in from out of state, and he had to house them in their house after the party was revealed as the surprise it was. He planned the menu, he cooked the menu, he cooked Chateaubriand, he cooked lobster mashed potatoes, because once they'd been on a trip somewhere in their 32 years together where there'd been lobster mashed potatoes, and Karen declared it one of the best things she'd ever eaten in her life. He didn't really like it, but he got lobster and made lobster mashed potatoes. He made some fabulous dessert. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. And then at 5 o'clock, the doorbell rang, and all these couples, some from out of state, appeared at their house in Tennessee, and Karen was completely overwhelmed. What a beautiful thing. She said she didn't suspect a thing, but she thought it was pretty weird that when she went into the spare bathroom that day, the powder room downstairs, there were fresh hand towels for the first time in their marriage, but she just kind of dismissed it. Then, after this wonderful, incredible dinner, where Howard was celebrating the woman he loves, he gave a slideshow of over 500 pictures of their life together, and music and memories and joy and love. So if you're really struggling, and I know a lot of you are, relationships are a really hard gig. We don't often talk about how bad it is, which is why we're so shocked when friends who seem to be doing great end up breaking up and divorcing. Relationship is really hard. We often suffer in silence. We often don't know who to turn to, and we feel like we're uniquely broken. Do you relate to that at all? That's the way Howard and Karen felt. So I want to reassure you, I'm so proud of you for being here watching this video and showing an interest in learning what are the keys we need to do well in relationship. How can we slowly start changing them and do better? How can we make our love life a hobby? Don't give up hope. Great relationships are not an accident. They are created, and I'm giving you some tools step by step in this course to help you have an idea of your roadmap, as we've talked about, where you are, where you want to get to. For now, rate yourself on the passion triangle. Let's look at the data, my dears. It might be pretty tough. You might be really low in all 3. That's where we begin. And we'll begin in the next lesson by taking a deeper dive into the all-important topic of intimacy, communication, and ugly fighting, and what to do about it. I will see you there. I hope you enjoyed this second lesson in the Starter Reboot course. I hope you've clicked below and joined the course so you can get all 5 lessons and homework with your partner. And then brings us to this episode's Love Bite. Great relationships are not an accident. Couples can learn the 3 keys to passion, intimacy, thrill, and sensuality, and you can improve where you're weak and keep blasting through where you're strong by evaluating your relationship right now, because you know what? You can fall in love all over again with the one you're already with. I can't wait to see you next episode, where we're going to be diving into the lead up to October 2025, the only time this year I'll be taking a small group of 100 couples through the 3-month program, Become Passion. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Bye for now.